It makes no sense for incoming U.S. President Donald Trump to threaten a 25% tariff on Canadian oil and gas. Canadian oil makes up 25% of all the oil used in the United States, not just 25% of their imports of oil, 25% of all the oil used in the United States. We've done a very, very good job over the last 30 years in this country of integrating our oil industry into theirs. So much so that now there are 25 refineries in the Midwest in the United States, and we provide them with just about 75% of their feedstock and 100% of the imported feedstock. So 100% of the oil used in these 25 refineries in the Middle West in the United States come from Canada. They would have loved to have another Keystone XL pipeline to bring even more down, because we're a reliable source of oil and gas. Dick Cheney, when he was the vice president of the United States under George W. Bush, worked very hard to get Canada and the United States integrated into a single energy security zone. It was never called that formally, but that's what they worked on. And it worked. We went from being a tiny fraction of the imported oil in the United States in the 1990s to 60% of all the oil brought into the United States from another country now comes from Canada. 60%. And it's working its way towards 2/3. So it makes no sense for Donald Trump to say, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on that, because he's really just cutting off his country's own nose to spite its face. Cutting off Canadian oil and gas would drive gasoline prices in the United States up by as much as $1. And Americans are very sensitive to the cost of their oil and gas, especially their gasoline. So it really is ridiculous. And there would be an awful lot of refineries, particularly in the Midwest, that couldn't easily replace the Canadian oil that would be shut down or made too expensive. And so they would run dry. And so would gas pumps in some states too. So I get it. It is ludicrous for Trump to threaten 25% tariff. But you know what's equally ludicrous? For Melanie Joly, Canada's foreign affairs minister, to threaten to cut off energy from Canada to the United States. Alberta Energy is about 1/3 of all the exports Canada sends around the world. And I don't just mean oil exports. 1/3 of all the exports, 1/3 of all the cars. We send a lot of cars to the United States. We send an awful lot of electronics. We send dairy products. We send manufactured goods of all sorts. Electricity from Quebec. 1/3 of all of those things that we send to the entire world is Alberta oil to the United States. Cutting that off as a threat to Trump would be it would probably be more disastrous for the Canadian economy than Trump threatening a 25% tariff on Canadian oil brought into the United States. So both sides are behaving irrationally in this. There was some criticism last weekend of Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, who went to Florida to meet with Donald Trump face to face and try to impress on him how difficult it would be for both countries if he imposed his tariffs on oil and gas. But in the entire theater, this entire play about trade war, Danielle Smith is the only one who's acting like a grown-up. For Postmedia, I'm Lorne Gunter.